Yeah, I'm still around. Can you believe it? The Apple Vision Pro is out and all the people are making review videos and stuff. And I didn't purchase one for a variety of reasons. But it wasn't until today that I saw a review from someone I've actually been waiting to see more tech reviews from for a very long time. I once called him the best tech reviewer on YouTube, Casey Neistat, which for some of you might be like, what? I said this years ago because he sees things through completely different eyes than the geeks that watch videos like this. And his review of the Apple Vision Pro unlocked something for me that had been niggling at me for a couple of days, but I couldn't put my finger on it. And as soon as I watched his video, it completely opened the door. Apple Vision Pro is a problem, but it's not a problem of the product, it's a problem of humans and the things that we're willing to accept as far as how deep technology gets embedded into our lives. I'm just going to tell you right now, some of you are not going to care about what I'm going to say. It's not a review of the product. I'm not going to tell you about all the cool things you can do or even my thoughts of the technology and the hardware compared to something like the Meta Quest 3. I'm not going to talk about that. What I am going to talk about is the impact something like this can have and how dangerous it actually is to society as a whole. I don't know if you've seen a couple of these pictures lately on Twitter, X, Instagram, where people have these things out in the daylight. First of all, what's interesting is like VR headsets, you're literally not supposed to take out in outside. I don't know about the Apple Vision Pro. Maybe it's okay. I saw someone driving with one. Like, it's just ridiculous. But I really started to think when I saw this image on X earlier today and then watched Casey Neistat's video that the problem isn't if the technology is good or not. The problem is we are looking for progressively more and more ways to not be present. And this was never more apparent than in watching Casey Neistat's video. He is the ultimate cinematographer when it comes to YouTube videos. He even calls them movies. He's always present in everything he does, and a lot of times will point out beauty in things. But in the moment, he was so enthralled by the spatial computing and being in a Krispy Kreme and feeding a donut to like a butterfly that wasn't there, that the people around him didn't really exist. Sure, he could see them, but let me just tell you right now, he was not there, like mentally, like he was elsewhere. And when he talked in the end about how spatial computing works when you're like outside, he said this.
As I was sitting there in Times Square on a bench, strangers all around me, the real world moving all around me. But I had like a big screen up where I was watching a Mr. Beast video. And then over here I had this keyboard that I could interact with. And over here I had my iMessages. And over here I had my Apple TV and then all of my apps. And they're floating in Times Square in the middle of New York City. They're floating there and I'm actually there. And there's actual humans around me. And in that moment, I was like, holy shit.
And that right there is literally my point. He talks about taking things when you're outside and supposed to be, I don't know, touching grass, experiencing the world, and doing things you can literally do at home. 99% of the things he did while he was out and about, he could have done on his phone, but this is a more immersive experience, which is good and very definitely bad. We are already so segmented in our society from each other that now using technology as another barrier to entry to actually be a human being is really scary to me. And anyone who knows anything about Apple knows that as soon as Apple brings out a new type of technology, even if the technology itself is not new, it instantly becomes relevant. VR, MR, AR, all of it's been around for many, many years, but now that Apple is dipping its toe in, it's all over the news. It's everything that everyone's talking about. And you're seeing people use this stuff outside of the home, something I never would have considered, and I wonder if Apple did either. This to me is terrible. It's absolutely terrible. I don't care if I'm out in at a grocery store and every single person has those things on. That I'm never going to do that. As much into technology as I am, and the fact that I love VR, AR, MR, I love all that stuff. I love it at home. When I go outside the 2 or 3 times a year I do, I want to actually be outside to bring everything from your home and your computing and have it floating around to you. As cool technology as that is, sounds completely bad and completely like the wrong direction we're going. It was so evident in watching Casey, who is generally speaking a very charismatic and energetic and very cool person to watch when he's outside and kind of explaining things about New York or whatever, to be in this little headset and not being present. As much as he might say that he was present and may felt like he wasn't. Watch the video. He was not present at all. And this isn't a slam against Casey or anything. This is why I love his video and his content, because he points things out. Even though he didn't mention any of this, it made it very clear watching it that Casey was enjoying the technology, but not enjoying the world around him. He could have done all of that stuff in his studio, but chose not to, which means there's going to be other people that are going to do the same thing, isolating themselves from everyone else around them. What happens when everyone's wearing these things and no one's like really talking to each other or being in the moment? What are we doing? Have you ever seen the movie Surrogates? Highly recommend you watch that movie, because literally it talks about this exact thing. If you've not seen that movie, go rent it now. We are living in the age of surrogates. At the end of the day, it's cool technology and there will be great things that come from it. But man, after seeing Casey's video, I no longer want a part of that part of technology, really at all. I think humanity is already at a tipping point of absolute trash as it is, but you bring something like this out, man, we're screwed. I don't know about you, y'all, but I'm just going to sit here and go play my Xbox and play a little bit of Tekken 8. At least that way I can turn that off and return to reality pretty easily. Walk out, get a Krispy Kreme without trying to feed a dinosaur. But I love you, Casey. See you guys next time. Peace and love.